Okay, B'siyata D'Shmaya, we're going to be learning Korva Nafshi in our weekly Chavura from Rav Avram Tzvi Kluger. We are in the middle of this 7-chapter series on the inner world of the Jew, and we're going to finish it B'ezrat Hashem today. So we have to push through. Got some Torahs to learn in the next hour. B'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach. We're going to just get right into it. Tamea ata al tachlit zo shezaka hi uvalat pashtut uvtmimut. Right? Last time we were talking about it, we were saying how there's a certain point of innocence that we connect to Hashem without the chokhmah, without all the wisdoms. When we step into tefillah, there's a certain point where it doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't help that you know anything. All your Torah gets out the window as soon as you're standing in front of God. What does it matter what you know? It's God. It's knowledge itself that you're standing in front of. You know nothing at that point. Right? So there's a certain level and you're so taken back. The mind is startled that there's something that's so simple. How did the body get to be right next to the neshama before I got there? Remember this, we were talking about it, right? The brain looked down and was like, whoa, wait, hold on. You're not in your place, you're with the neshama. How did you get there? I didn't bring you there. How did, from simplicity of the heart, did the body wake up to be on the level of the neshama before the brain? And the brain now doesn't understand, how could there be such a level of simplicity that could take you so far? In the mind, there's no value to that kind of, what did you do? What did you understand? What did you conquer? What did you learn? What you're essentially saying is that there's a way to get to high levels without so much wisdom, without learning, without getting to such deep levels of understanding. Anybody, any simple person could reach such a lofty level. First things first, Uma bechach. Hayesh lecha darga gvura min hapashut. So what? Is there really anything higher than the simple understanding? Is there really anything higher than the simple truth that doesn't need anything more to be said about it? Shenit, second, ta'ut b'yadech, you have a mistake. Ki yesh ish shelo patach klal uchlal sugya kasha uvsvucha b'masechet plonit v'ilu shcheno yaga הרבה הסוגיה זו שיטותיה, יסודותיה, הבנותיה ועמוקיה ונוכח לראות כי עמוקה היא ובלתי בהירה פליאת דת ממנה נשגבה לא יוכל לה מלא קושיות ותמיהות אינו יודע להשיט בעצה. It could be a certain person who's serving Hashem simply. He never learned the Masechet in his life. He's never opened any Torah. He's never been in an awkward place in the Torah where he didn't know what to do with himself, where he felt like a complete fool that doesn't know anything, which is such a bracha when it happens when you're learning Torah. When you get to realize you really don't get the most simple thing and the person sitting right across from you, it's so clear to him. But it could be that this person that's learned this Gemara and he's finished certain Masechet, he has a lot of questions and he has no idea how to answer them. And his wisdoms and his deep level of learning is taking him to places where he's kind of stuck and he has a bunch of questions that are not adding up. Whereas his neighbor never learned those Gemaras and he's full connection to Hashem. Without all that wisdom, how could it be? לכאורה יאמר אומר ששניהם נשתוו זה לזה, you could say they're both equal. הרי בסופו של דבר שניהם אינם יודעים לבוא בשערי סוגיה זו. Both of them don't know how to answer the questions in the sugya. The one that never learned doesn't know how to answer the questions in the sugya, and the one that's in the sugya doesn't know how to answer the questions in the sugya. מה התועלת לזה שלמד ולא יגיע מכוח הלימוד לבהירות? What's the benefit of a person that learned Torah and didn't actually get to clarity by way of his learning his Torah? There's even a side to say that he's at a worse step than the other guy. The other guy fully believes. You thought you were going to learn, ended up with more questions than answers. What are you better? But you know that the mind knows that this is nonsense to speak like that. Of course you have to learn, of course. The other one is he's not in a place because he didn't learn. And the other one became a person who doesn't know because he learned. The other one doesn't know and he didn't learn. And the other one, at least he learned, and by way of his learning, he realized that he doesn't know. Another way to say this. One doesn't know what he doesn't know, and the other one knows very well what he doesn't know. Like this you could also say, דבר קל הוא, it's a very simple thing, to come to a simple level of serving Hashem without knowledge. So too, any baby, day-year-old baby, is already on the most simple level. He's already there. Any human being, from the time they're born, they're already at that level. Simply connected to God. But that level of simplicity, of innocence, it's not a lastable, achievable level. It's not something that I say, I acquired this, and that's going to last with me. This is enough. Staying innocent like a baby for the rest of your life is not going to do it for you. Ein la basis. There's nothing to build off there. A 1-year-old baby, you can't build off of what he knows. He knows nothing. It's just simple, pure existence. Come any spirit, right? Imagine a 1-year-old kid, what you could convince it to do if you had full power and a wicked heart. A 1-year-old kid will do anything you tell it to do. So simple, there's no basis, there's no foundations that comes any ruach, any question on God or Torah, any October 7th, and all of a sudden, don't believe in God. Questions that can't be answered. Because it's the level of a baby. You never learned Torah. You never understood really that Hashem is up, down, all around. Everything is Hashem. So you think Hashem's over there far away. And how did he connect October 7th? How could that happen? How did the Holocaust happen? So any kind of spirit comes along. Any question comes along in your own life. Right? You were building on that deal that you needed to get that deal to get that house. And why does Hashem hate you? And it didn't work out. You don't see that Hashem's saving you from a million different horrible things, physical and spiritual, because the deal didn't go through. But it doesn't add up, and because your Torah is not strong, so you fall to a place of having questions that you can't get up from. And then everything, right, is just this makif of a makif of a makif. It's this far out idea. Nothing actually is internalized because you don't have a basis. You're just this simple, yeah, Hashem's good, everything's fine. Torah is all love and kindness and everything's going to work out. It's like, okay, but on the other hand, there's like literally 30,000+ halachas that you have to learn and follow. There's a way of life, there's expectations, you're here on a mission. You can't be just a simple baby, everything's okay, Hashem is going to make everything work out. You're a warrior sent into the world to accomplish missions. That comes with instructions, that comes with expectations, that comes with things you need to do. You can't just say, yeah, everything's fine. Ma she'en ken, הבא לתמימות שלמעלה מן הידיעה שלאחר ההבנה מצוי במקום אחר לגמרי. What's not the case though is someone who comes to a level of simplicity after understanding, after knowledge, is in a completely different place. Completely different place. I know you're sitting here bugging out and you finally got your settlement. Don't worry, this is a Breathwork book, it's okay. We're always going to come back to the Tam being the highest. למד ויודע כמה הנברא רחוק ועד היכן צריך להתבטל. He's learned already how far I am from truth, how far I am from being perfect, how much I need to nullify myself. יודע כבר כי אחרי כלות כל השכלים וההבנות, after all of my understanding and what I've learned ends, נמשכת הנשמה אל השם יתברך, הבלתי נודע, הבלתי גבולי, שאינו נתפס בשכל גבולי. Then after all I know, my neshama is still trying to yearn towards God that can't be limited, that is infinite, that can't be known. All you have right now is the levels of bitul that you've reached, how much you know to nullify yourself. At that point, your knowledge doesn't help you anymore. It's the opposite. What helps you is not knowing, realizing how much you don't know. Use all your knowledge to tell you how much you don't know and how much you need to nullify yourself to Hashem. That Hashem runs the whole entire world. A fool would never understand this. Like David said about himself, I was like an animal with you. It's like a beast with you. What, the king of Israel calling himself like an animal? I was like an animal with you, Hashem? What does that mean? הוא שמעו צדיקים לכמה פיקחות נצרך האדם כדי להיות תם שציוותה עליו תורה באומרו תמים תהיה עם השם אלוקיך. That's what the rabbis say. How much do you have to know to be able to keep what the Torah told you? Be simple with your Hashem, your God. Be innocent. Be tam with Hashem, your God. What does that mean? That's not the baby level of simplicity that you came into the world with. The person that never learned Torah. That's not called simple. Sorry, but that's called a fool. right? The person didn't learn, doesn't want to learn, not interested in learning. We're not talking about a person that cannot, that has limitations, that has something preventing them, they didn't know. A person that could learn and says, nah, Hashem's got my back, it's all good, Hashem loves me, just read a little bit of Tehillim and that's it, don't need to learn Torah. That's not what we're talking about here. The level of Tamim Tiyeh Hashem Elokecha, you should be complete and whole and innocent with Hashem your God, pure with Hashem your God. That's after you learn, after you understand, you throw all of that knowledge out of your mind and you realize you don't know anything because God is infinite. And even after all you've tried to understand and learn, spent hours of learning Torah, your soul still wants more. So what does that mean? That it's never going to be about what you understand. There's something infinitely greater than you that your soul's connected to. Put yourself into perspective, put yourself in the right mindset, know your place. I was telling Aaron here earlier in the morning, Rav Torjman mentioned this before. Sit here right now, close your eyes, ascend above your body into this room. Go above the room, above the building. Go above your neighborhood. Go above your city. Go above your region. Go above your country. Go above your continent. Go above this world. Go above the solar system, the galaxy, the universe, the whole entire thing. Realize that that's all still physical. Then there's spiritual worlds, infinite spiritual worlds, and God is above all of that, created everything that we're talking about here, and try from that lofty place to look back down at yourself physically sitting here in this room. How insignificant are you in all of that? On the other hand, the whole entire world was created for you. And your soul that keeps you alive is a spark of God, down here, in that insignificance. That's the whole point. Learn about all these worlds, about how Hashem reveals Himself in all of these places in different ways, different shades of the Shekhinah, different revelations, different ways He wants you to serve you. All the different Torahs that could be in the world. And then realize that you, so insignificant down here, a piece of dust, infinite love of Hashem with a neshama inside of it. Be simple, like the baby that has the parents taking care of it, doesn't need to do anything. Even after you know everything, get back to that point. Like the Baal Shem Tov said, after he learned all the kavanot and all the intentions of tefillah, he went back to praying the simple words. That's the ruach. That's the tam. That's the heart that Rabbi Nachman's talking about all the time, that rules over the brain. After the brain, when you go back into the heart, after you've learned and you actually know what the Torah has to say about God and about you and about your mission in this world, and then you go back to doing it simply with a smile on your face, not that you get confused doing it because you know all the kavanot and the intentions, that you're too focused to be able to be happy doing the mitzvah itself. You're connecting to God when you light those candles. You're connecting to God when you make that bracha. Yes, there's levels of intentions and mindsets that you could be in. And then there's the simplicity of I'm connecting to the creator of the world by saying these words. We have to hold both. The goal is to be able to learn all of the deep learnings and intentions and mindsets behind these teachings and these practices that we have, and then to do them with a simple smile like a baby on your face. That's the level of simplicity that the Torah and the tzadikim are praising. Not just the baby that didn't learn anything. It's important to know. The mind is embarrassed and starts to bow down its head. We can recognize words of truth. Now, we feel in the depths of your soul, tam chaim velo tam chidush. Feel the taste of life. Not some kind of, it's not something new. It's not some new idea that I have to get used to. It's sitting in there. It's real. I feel it. It's ancient knowledge that's inside of me. Tam neshama velo tam sechel. The taste of a neshama, not the taste of a brain. Right? Soul food. Nitbatla b'mitziuto. Your reality, your mitziut is now nullified. Kara ve'latmimut b'psiya achat. With one step you came into simplicity. V'yosha Hashem b'yom hahu. And on that day, Hashem brought salvation. Meaning it happens in a moment. In one moment, with a sincere, authentic, simple step, the neshama, the body can overtake the brain. It can ascend past. It can go past the brain. It can go past the mind. One sincere mikveh dip, right? This is the famous story of the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov met a guy in a faraway village that didn't know how to daven. He didn't know how to pray. He didn't know how to use a siddur. So every day he would read the whole entire siddur. from cover to cover. The Baal Shem Tov said that. It's a lot of work. There's thousands of pages every day. Let me put in bookmarks for you. This is what you have to say at this time. This is what you have to say in this time. And that's it. Baal Shem Tov sorts it out, goes on his way. This man drops the Siddur. All of the bookmarks fall out. Doesn't know what to do. Says, I'm going to run after the Baal Shem Tov until I found someone that's going to take off a few hours of work every day and tell me what I have to do and not what I didn't know. I have to chase after him. He catches up to the Baal Shem Tov and he sees the Baal Shem Tov going to cross a river. And the Baal Shem Tov takes off his gartel, his prayer belt, throws the belt across the river and uses it as a bridge and crosses. It's Kabbalistic intentions and crosses over. This guy runs up to the river, takes off his prayer belt, the gartel, throws it across the river and runs across the river. Gets up to the Baal Shem Tov and says, Rebbe, my Siddur, all the bookmarks fell out. He looks back, he says, how do you get across the river? He said, I saw the Rebbe throw out his gartel, so I did the same thing and I just crossed over. He said, if you can do that, go back to praying the whole Siddur every day. You don't need my bookmarks. You're hitting it, right? So this is the idea. The salvation can come in one moment. That was a sincere step from the student. He's like, okay, this is the way. That's how you cross the river. Okay, shum. That's from a place of sincerity. You can't do that again after that. It happens once when you're sincere. Once you have the knowledge,
how do you get back to the other side?
you have to learn a lot, and then simple it down. Once you step into knowledge, you have an obligation to learn, right? Hashem's not going to come and punish all of these Jews that broke Shabbat their whole entire life without really knowing Torah. You make a mess, you have to clean it up, of course. Neshamot were sent here, we all have a responsibility. You can't go your whole life seeing religious people online, seeing Jews when you come to Israel, and you don't want to ask questions about your own people. But there's a ton of our brothers and sisters out there that don't really know Torah. So they break Shabbat, they don't eat kosher, they don't really know though. Hashem's not going to put them through the Haredi person that does the same thing. The guy that grew up learning Torah and living it, and then break Shabbat, also there's room to judge favorably. There's people that go through hell and because of the system and because of the rabbis and because of twisted things, right? So I'm not saying that. I'm saying in general, the religious person that one day decides because of his own lust that he doesn't want to be religious anymore and he wants to chase a life of pleasure. That's not the same as the kid that grew up in LA, not connected, didn't know what God really was, didn't really know Torah. It's not the same thing. Or what happens when you go to Esha Torah for 3 weeks and you have amazing classes and you spend a couple of hours learning Torah? Your life's not the same now. You step away from that Beit Midrash, you know now. You know now. You're in a different league. Once your eyes are opened, you lose excuses. You start to lose reasons of why your behavior is okay anymore. You've been exposed to the truth. Now you have an obligation to keep on learning. Now once you start to learn, what's going to happen? You're going to come to a place of, oh, I know. And then you get the Baal Tshuva that goes back and starts to rebuke his parents and tell his parents, your house is not kosher, I can't eat here. As if his rabbis wanted him to do that. Right? Then he comes to a place where he has knowledge and he knows and everybody else is wrong and I know the Torah is the truth and everybody needs the Torah and let me prove the Torah is true to you, as if proofs are really what's going to do it for a person. And then that's when you have to come back to the simplicity of, I do this because it's just honestly the best thing in the world. Simply put, it's just the best. And that level of tmimut, of wholesomeness, of innocence is what makes other people want to become religious. Then your same parents that used to be telling them, I know better than you, when you start to live it and you go to their house and they're eating their own meal and you don't need to eat in their house, or you find a way to make it work in their house without embarrassing them and making them feel uncomfortable, then you'll start to inspire them to actually want to keep kosher. How? Not from your knowledge, not from your wisdom, not from what you know. Because out of your knowledge you realize you don't know anything to be telling another person they're wrong or right. Objectively they could be wrong. Who are you to say it? Who are you to make them feel bad? You do you, simply be you with Hashem. That will shine and change lives. That's the level of simplicity and knowledge. Right? That you don't have to walk through the street cursing everybody else out because they're, oh my God, look, they're not a religious person. No. You walk on the street in Shabbat, you see a person driving and all of a sudden you think, oh, they're breaking Shabbat, oh my gosh, it's forbidden to drive on Shabbat. It's immediately, your mind takes you, you must know what the situation is. So the story of Rav Aaron Abel's was not too long ago. That every time he would see someone driving, he lived in Tel Aviv. He was an Admor in Tel Aviv. Every time he would see someone driving on Shabbat, he would say, Mazal Tov, Mazal Tov. One time, there was a truck, like a big truck that drove by. And he said, Mazal Tov. Like, there's a birth or something. Why is this person driving on Shabbat? It must be that there's a baby being born. Right? You have to judge the Jew favorably. It can't be that he's breaking Shabbat. God forbid to think of that about another Jew. Mazal tov. One time a truck drives by, not a car, and his gabbai says, what, even this one, Rebbe? Even he's mazal tov, what, he's driving now to have a baby? There's a kikar, a roundabout further in the street. They see this truck go around the roundabout and come back. They stop next to the Rebbe and the gabbai, and they say, where's the hospital? Right? So that doesn't always happen. But when the Rebbe says it and the Gabbai wants to ask a question, then God is going to prove it to the Gabbai on the spot. Right? For sure, not every car that the Rebbe saw was actually going to the hospital to have a baby. Right? For sure not. But when it needed to be proven that the Rebbe is tapping into something else, God made it very, very clear. Right? But again, it's the simplicity. The simplicity of the Rebbe, after all his knowledge of the way of the world, and he knows, as a Rebbe, he knows, in Tel Aviv, he knows, 80% of Am Yisrael is not so connected. For sure, these people driving, with his knowledge, he could have made tons of assumptions, and he would probably be right. There's a level of simplicity above that, that your soul is always yearning to, that the Jew at his core is pure. Why would a Jew break Shabbat? Can't be. It must be there is a mazal tov. That's a level of simplicity after the knowledge that is much more praised than just the knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not justifying at all the actions.
This is so much more like.
Who am I? I'm simple. Who am I? Who am I to even have thoughts like that? Eyes on Hashem. What do I know?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Ayin Tova.
Ayin tova, a simple eye, a good eye on people, right? It's important. Let's keep going. Niftach piv betfilah. The mouth opens. B'diburim shel tom, Hashem yitbarach, with simple words of innocence to Hashem. Shafach tzakon siach karov lefanav yitbarach, pours out this little small scream, a little small conversation to Hashem. Ze l'rishona she'enu lomed al Hashem yitbarach v'sugya she'ma'anim ba. It's the first time that he's not learning about Hashem. Right? Remember, we talked about it in the previous classes. Everybody likes to talk about Hashem, but they struggle to talk to Hashem. Right? When you're learning Torah, you're learning about Hashem. But when you're praying to Hashem. It's different. Rabbi Nachman wanted us to unify the both, right? What was his number one goal for Rabbi Natan? Turn my Torahs into tefillahs. Right? Turn my learning into teaching, into tefillahs, into connections to Hashem. Also now, when we're learning Torah, we need to be in the state of tefillah to Hashem, that all of this comes true. So now is the first time that the brain's approaching a conversation with Hashem, not from a place of learning about Hashem. You are this, but talking, being present. Chai, chash, feeling it, living it. Medaber or shotek lefanav, nit'allah b'chaim lo. Whether you can talk, you're quiet in front of Hashem, doesn't matter, you're in front of Hashem. You're in front of Hashem. Sorry guys. Shav min derech rechoka shediber ba magid mikozhnitz, came back from the faraway path, the long path that the Kozhnitz Rebbe talked about, when he said, Ish ki yeh tameh lenefesh bederech rechoka. We have the teaching of Pesach Sheni, right? Pesach Sheni, the second Passover, for all of the people that were, each individual person that was either impure or on the faraway path. All the people that need a second chance, aka. And this is what he says there. Peresh Rashi. Rashi says, Shelo haya bederech rechoka mamash, ele shaya chutz me'iskufat ha'ezara. רצונו לשמר שהיה רחוק מהשם יתברך ואינו יכול לומר ברוך אתה כאשר ידבר איש אל רעהו פנים בפנים. What does it mean that they were in a faraway place? How are they traveling in the desert were they in a faraway place? They're in a convoy. They're traveling together. What faraway place were they in? Rashi says faraway place, it means that they couldn't come inside the Azara. They couldn't come inside the holy places where the offerings were happening. They were in a place of Tumah. They were a place far out where they couldn't say Baruch Atah. Blessed are you. When do you say you? When there's presence. When you're in front of the being or the person you're talking to. So when we say Baruch Atah, blessed are you, God. Atah, you. If you can't say Atah, if you can't speak to God like it's you, and you can only speak about God and not to God, so you're far away. You can't speak like a person that speaks to his friend face to face. The brain feels itself like a poor person at the opening, naked and lacking all. He's putting out his hands simply and they're empty in front of Hashem, and he's not even really asking for anything. Tefillah le'ani chiyatov. It's a prayer of a poor person, a prayer of the pauper. He's embarrassed. He's in a level of bitul. V'nasa kli rek mikol. He's become an empty vessel, completely empty, vacant vessel, empty of all. Reika mamash michochma miretzonot, empty of wisdom, empty of wills, of desires. Has no desire, nothing. You don't want anything at that moment. You don't want to be a person of knowledge. You don't want to be a Talmid Chacham at that point. You don't want to even say you know. You just want to be a simple Jew. Yehudi Pashut. Pashut. Bli golem. Simple. Pashut. People don't know this, but Pashut in Hebrew, Pashut, Pshat, right? Simple. It doesn't mean that. It means stripped, like compiled, not made up of many parts. Simple, meaning one. That's why everything spiritual to us, we call it pashut v'ne'elam, like simple and hidden. Why simple? Because anything above us, so to say, it's like one. It's not made up of many parts. We don't even understand it. We just see it as one. Anything above us is so simple, not simple, like pshat, like so to say. Also, when we take off our clothing, it's called lafshit abeged, to remove clothing. Pshat, same thing. You're removing all of the levels that make it up, and you're getting to that core simplicity, that simple thing at the root. I want to be like that. I don't want to have any body. I'm ready to do whatever Hashem wants to do to me. I don't have a will to be. Not to be like them, not to be like him, not to be like I was in the past, not to be like I aspire to be in the future. There is no past. I don't see a future. The reality of Hashem is one. Enod milvada. There's nothing besides that reality. Bepashtut, simply put, this most simple, not complicated level. Be'emet, in truth. Naaseh neshama. Now you've become neshama. You reach the level of neshama. There's no future, there's no past, I need to be there, I need this money, I lack this thing. Just Hashem. Hashem and this little ray of light that's coming out, that's so to say what I am. If you can say I at that point. Velo atzvut bo. You don't have sadness at this moment. Vishat oni zo, at this time of poverty, of lack, which by the way is a praised thing, as the Maharal talks about in Vurot Hashem. The generation that came out of Egypt were a poor nation, poor generation. Lechem oni, they ate bread of affliction, bread of poverty, matzah. But that poverty was what kept them simple and allowed them just to leave all of anything that could keep a person in America, Egypt, a slave. Right? They weren't slaves really at that point. They had 86 very bad years, and the rest of the times they were just citizens of a very, very well-off, beautiful, material country. And that was a slave mentality, that they couldn't leave that. Only when you're simple and you're poor and you have nothing holding you back are you able to step out and to just go and to follow whatever Hashem says. But you're filled with joy, with wealth, with true fortune, with true osher. This is not something that you understand. It's not a level. It's not godlut mochin, great expansion of mind. It's not dveikut. It's not any of those words. It's not even joy. Min matzav zach naki. It's a pure, clean level with no names. How fitting for what we were talking about before we started this class. How fitting for what we were talking about. לא ידע כי לזאת יקרא דבקות וכל כינויים אחרים לעניין זה שזוכה בו עתה. Whatever you think Dveikut, Bitul, all these beautiful Kabbalistic names are, it's this. It's the level that you're at. All of those names are included in this level, where there's no word, there's no future, there's no past, there's no tshuva, there's no aspirations, there's no I want, there's no I need, there's no you need, there's just There's just Hashem, there's just Neshama, there's just Havaya. Minyan lo leda, אמנם למד על כך כל כך הרבה בספרים קדושים, אך מעולם לא ידע מה לומד. You've all been learning about this for so many years, but you had no idea what you're learning about. So you get there. דיבר מילים, הבין מושגים, אך לא חי את הדברים. You said the words, right? You understood the teachings. You never actually lived what it means to reach a level where there is no future and no present. In this world. Here, on a Tuesday, on a regular day. סבר שמשוטט בפנים ולא ידע כי ניצב מן השפה ולחוץ. You thought that you're in the books, you're sailing the oceans inside the books, but you have no idea that you're bichlal on the river banks on the outside. You haven't even stepped into the waters. You know the books, you're reading the books, but have you reached this level? And again, we're not talking about a level that only tzadikim can get to. Anybody could, with a few minutes of dedication and breathing, you can get to a point where you disappear. I promise you can do it yourself. Anybody that's watching this video, if the Buddhist monks can do this, you can do this. You have a Jewish neshama. You can do this. To nullify yourself to the point where there is no world, there is no you, there is no future, there is no nothing. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes consistency, it takes months. But you can do it on your own level, if you want it. And it's not by way of all the wisdoms and everything. The only wisdom you need here is to know that God is greater than you could ever imagine you are. Nullify yourself to that, realize how small you are, and also how connected to Hashem you are, and you'll get there. This is not the craziest levels that the tzadikim get to, but the tzadikim kind of live this all day long. That's what makes them tzadikim. Shiviti Hashem lenigdi tamid, like the first halach in Shulchan Aruch says, that's the thing that makes the tzadikim. That they're able to live like this all day long. That it's not about me, it's just the flow coming through me. You've learned about these secrets. You've learned al Hashem, you learned about Hashem. But you never lived the secret. You've never tapped into it. You never allowed yourself to step out of the book of what you thought you read in the book and you knew, and to go try to experience it without the book. To step into the forest, to go inside the mikveh and to throw your head out. And to just be. למד על טעם המאכל, אך לא טעם אותו בפועל. You've learned about the taste of the food, but you never actually put it in your mouth to taste it. ושמא מוטב אינו יודע. What is it beneficial for? What's it good for? What's actually the benefit of doing there? You have no idea. ישב בדד וידום. You just sit there by yourself, be quiet. יחיה את הבלתי נודע, live the what can't be known. איתם חיים לראשונה, you're going to taste life for the first time. בלא להשיג כי ברגע בהיר זה מאיר עליו עומד בדרגה גבוהה מן הראש ככתר למעלה מן המוח. And in a second you're going to see, for the first time, you're going to start to get complete clarity of illumination that's coming down on you from a level that's much higher than the head, like a crown sitting on top of the head. שלווה ושלמות בין השכלי החיוני והנשמה. Tranquility and peace between the mind, the body, and the neshama. Yichud shalem, complete unity. Orot bekelim, lights in vessels. Neshamot begufim, souls inside bodies. V'chol ele kochot meuchadim hem b'yehudi echad, shezachal yitbarech b'shalom. All of these are forces in one Jew that merited to be blessed with peace. I wanted to push through, but I think we're going to stop for now. We'll do another one, because it's sometimes we have to know, right? A full download is a full download. Sometimes we learn 45, 50 minutes here, and we could do that and finish this whole chapter, and then next week we're starting on a new topic. We're here for 33 minutes already, and I think that's, if we really, really understood what was just said right now, right, let's try to summarize it a little bit. Essentially, at a certain point, it could be that our body starts to live with deep lights of Hashem and deep levels of understanding, and it comes without understanding. The brain feels like, where was I in the process? I didn't bring you to this level. How are you getting such lofty experiences without me? I'm still like, meaning the brain is aware of these things. The brain has learned these. The brain is in the books, learns Chassidus, learns all these different Torahs. But these Torahs are meant to be felt. These Torahs are meant to be lived. It's not just nice inspirational books. They are ways of life. These are practical advice of how to connect to God. So, if a person hasn't taken time in their day to just try to practice bitul and dveikut, meaning to sit for a few minutes a day and try to nullify yourself. But not nullify yourself in the Buddhist way where once you nullify your ego, that's it, now there's no ego and there's nothing after that. No, nullify yourself, your emotions, your actions, your emotions, your mind, your reality, the reality of the world, and watch it all melt into Hashem. Melt into Enod Milvado, melt into Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. There's only one. There is only one. When we start to melt into that, then you start to see miracles. Then you start to see beautiful revelations. But at that point, it's never about the revelation. It's never about the, I want this, I need this, I'm trying to understand that, I want to feel you, Hashem. There is no more I, there is no more you, there is no more this world. Everything is nullified there. You don't need to talk at that moment. You don't need to feel at that moment. Not joy and not anything else. Not sadness, for sure not. It's the highest level of nullification where you come back to being just a ray off the light of Hashem. Right? Love doesn't actually exist. Fear and anger, these things don't really exist. These are ways that we experience the light of Hashem. The light of Hashem is the only thing that exists, and in this world it gets expressed in many different ways. But those things can't really, that's why they're called midot, measures. They don't really exist. It's like, so to say, it's like, I can measure that I feel love here. I measure that I feel a revelation of awe here. I feel a harmony coming into the world. I feel I need to persevere. But you can't say what those things actually are. Right? Can you describe for me love, really? Practically, you can tell me the outcomes of having love or lack of love. But love itself, you can tell me what it tastes like, you can tell me what it is. You can't. This is the idea. When you start to get to such a level of flow that you're nullified to anything that's going on in the world. Zat Hashem Yitbarach, may we all be zoche to get there. Be'ezer Hashem Yitbarach. Last little message. Bezat Hashem, going to the US on Sunday, September 7th, and I'll be there until Wednesday, September 18th. I'm going to do 1 week in New York, 1 week in Miami. If there's people you think I should meet, if there's places you think I should go to speak, meditations, meet people, one-on-ones, groups, shuls, offices, houses, whatever it is, Bezat Hashem, let us know. We're going to be there for 2 weeks, and I'm not looking to rest, I'm looking to work. I'm coming there to be busy, I'm coming there to not have my own time. I have nothing to do there for myself. I live in the beautiful land of Eretz Yisrael. I'm happy here. I'm coming there to work and to share and to be there for the people there trying to connect more. So please, 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 any opportunities, any things that you could think of, I'd be more than happy to connect. Please just reach out. I'm going to be again in New York and in Miami. Bezat Hashem, South Florida. Yeshuot for all of Am Yisrael.